Today, I'm bringing back one of my favorite guests of all time, Jen Gottlieb. Jen is the co-founder of SuperConnector Media, former VH1 host and Broadway actress, and mindset and manifestation queen. Through her famous Bntv bootcamp, she and her partner, Chris, are helping people just like you get their message to the world through the power of television and the media. Today, we're talking about why you, yes, you, have a message worth sharing and how to overcome the lie that fear often tells us that we're just not ready. Thanks so much for tuning in today. I have quite the treat for you. I cannot get enough of this woman, and I had to have her back because she's working on some really exciting projects that we're going to share with you later. But Jen Gottlieb, thank you so much for tuning in, or for being here, not tuning in. Thanks for tuning in and for also being here.
Well, I feel like I am getting to tune in right now just to have some Lindsay time. So this is like the best day ever and the best moment ever in time, because anytime that I get to chat with you is such a treat. So thank you.
Oh, and I feel like now you and I are both like so much more in our element. The last time we talked was the virtual event where it was like in front of 1,000 people, no big deal, like, you know, this whole production. And today I'm like no makeup, in my sweats, and just getting to connect with my girlfriend. So this feels like home.
It definitely does. It definitely does. But the other way, I love seeing my Lindsay all dialed up too. I mean, that jumpsuit was freaking everything. We didn't even get to talk about that, but
we didn't. We should do a podcast on that. Maybe the next one. We'll just do a podcast on fashion, because I know that you love fashion and styling your higher self just as much as I do. And that actually kind of fits in with why I wanted to have you back today and why we knew that it's a conversation actually we can never have too much. That I think right now what I'm seeing a lot in my life and in my community are these amazing women who are so ready to step into that next version of themselves, but they don't feel like they are. So we're going to go, you and I just like go deep always, like right away, no fluff. But in case anyone has not heard your story on a previous podcast, maybe they didn't have a chance to tune into the virtual event. Give us a little glimpse of your story and what has led you up to this point of being in, you know, this amazing entrepreneur, helping entrepreneurs just like me and yourself get placement in the media. And truly, I feel like you have this gift of pulling the greatness out of people and having them see themselves truly through the eyes of, you know, the people around them. So you are just one of my favorite human beings, but you also have an incredible story for yourself. So will you just take us back a little bit to what has led you up to this point?
Yeah, thanks, Linz. Well, so I was an actress my whole life since I was a little kid. That's all I ever wanted to do was sing and dance, be on stage. I wanted to be on Broadway. I wanted to be on TV. I wanted to be in the movies. It's like just I knew exactly what I wanted from like birth. And so when I was 20, I dropped out of college. I went to college for musical theater, to be a musical theater major at like a regular 4-year school at the University of Hartford in Connecticut. And I found out really quickly that I, needed to be in New York City, and I was not the college type. So I was like, screw this, I'm leaving. And I ended up moving to New York City to pursue my dream. And there I went to a conservatory program for musical theater. And I ended up getting, I tell this story, I think, on one of your podcast episodes. So we should, for the sake of time, tell people to go listen to that episode of the podcast to hear about how I manifested my dream role in a Broadway national tour in the show The Wedding Singer. I decided that I wanted to play this role. There was absolutely no opportunity to play the role in sight. Had no clue how it would happen, but I stayed super, super true to that vision and like did all the experiments with The Secret. I was just learning about the law of attraction. Like, what the hell is this thing? And someone gave me a book that called The Secret. I read it and I was like, oh, if you can like imagine something it can plop into your life, amazing. I'll try it. And I'll try it with the one thing that I want in the world, which was to play this role, the role of Linda in The Wedding Singer. And through a lot of visualization, but mostly, you can visualize all day long, but if you don't take action and you don't do the scary thing and you don't act before you're ready, nothing happens. So long story short, very, very long story, because I didn't just get the role. It didn't just happen. I ended up finally playing Linda on one of the biggest stages in the world, like this Broadway national tour, where I got to go all over the country and perform in the Broadway costume. And when I performed it for the first time on a stage, the vision that I saw, like of the audience and the lights and the costume on my body, was the exact same visual that I had been visualizing when I was like practicing The Secret. And when that happened, it hit me so hard in that very, very moment that anything that I want, I can create. That was the moment. It was like, holy shit, anything that I want. Like, how was this even possible? I cannot believe this happened, but it is proof that this shit works. So after that, I ended up doing 14 seasons of a TV show on VH1 where I got to interview rock stars. And I played this like very out of alignment version of myself. So it was an amazing job. I was an actor. I was really excited to get a gig, let alone a cable television gig, right, on this cool show. But I was like this hard rock and heavy metal chick. And if you go Google me, like Jennifer Leah Gottlieb, that metal show, you'll see this girl that wears like super tight, like leather pants and huge hair and spray tan and all the makeup and like, yeah, rock on kind of thing. And that couldn't have been further from who I was. And I truly believe now, like looking backwards, because I was so out of alignment in like who I was in life, like I was playing two versions of myself and kind of pretending to be in this world when I really wasn't. My personal life was also out of alignment, and I was just being all things to all people and whoever everybody else needed me to be. And that led me to be in a really toxic relationship and led me into a deep, deep depression. And I felt really, 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 really stuck. I was severely bulimic at the time. I was addicted to Adderall. I was, not feeling fulfilled in what I was doing because it was great. It was a job. And it was what I always dreamt that I thought I wanted to do, to be on a TV show. But it was so not me. And it was still me. It's a weird thing. I wasn't playing a character. I was playing Jennifer, but this version of me that wasn't in alignment. So now I know that when you're out of alignment and you can't get yourself out of it, the universe will come in and smack you back into it. And, it's not necessarily something that you want to happen at the time. And it wasn't for me. So basically I went from, having this, like from the outside dream, quote unquote life, with this guy I thought I was going to marry in this $1 million apartment in New York City and this show, to within 5 days, my boyfriend told me he was cheating on me, kicked me out of the apartment. My show got canceled, and I found myself in like a tiny room with a window that faced a wall with like 6 other actors in this New York City apartment. And I, had to start over. Like I stared at that brick wall, and I remember writing down over and over again, one day I'll know why this happened. That's what I had. It's the only thing I could do, because I was just like so unbelievably like helpless at that time. And I'm sure there's people that are listening to this that can relate to that feeling of like, what the hell did I just do? Like I wanted to call my boyfriend and I wanted to make up with him and I wanted to erase everything. But from that moment, shit had to happen for the shift to happen. And I say that all the time, and I still say it every single damn day that something bad happens. I'm like, this is the shit, so the shift can happen, right? It was the greatest thing that ever happened to me, because it forced me to start to build a business. And I thought, I was like, all right, I don't really know how to build a business, nor like, I don't know what the hell I'm doing, but I need to do something. So I decided I wanted to build a health and wellness coaching business and help people lose weight, personal training, and in self-improvement, but really like with the body. And the only thing that I knew about business was how to get media. Like that was all I knew. I knew about mainstream media because that was what I kind of did for, the entertainment industry. Like that was the only piece I knew. So I ended up really leveraging the power of mainstream media, PR, getting press to build a multi-6-figure personal training and wellness coaching business in a very short period of time. And that got really successful. And then life was like kind of just good. And it wasn't great. It wasn't bad. It was good. And there was something that was missing. And, sometimes people achieve everything they've wanted, and then they're still kind of like, but there's something that's still missing. And for me, there were two things, and I didn't really know at the time, but now looking backwards, I know, but I was ready to fall in love. I wanted to meet someone, and I missed performing. When that's in you, it's in you. It's in you. You know that, it was in you, and I wasn't doing it. And so I was like, well, back in the day, I used this thing called the law of attraction to manifest my dream role in The Wedding Singer. What if I tried that again? It's so crazy because sometimes when things work, we don't do them anymore, right? Something starts working, like meditation or working out, you're doing it, it starts working, and then all of a sudden you just stop doing it.
Yep.
Yes. Yeah. I know, but I do it all the time with everything. But that's our self-sabotaging behaviors and all those things. You could go into that, but I stopped doing the law of attraction thing, and I was like, screw it. I'm going to go hard. I'm going to dive in and figure out what I want. And that was a man. And I want to expand this business, and I want to do something that feels like it's great instead of just good, and take it to the next level, be able to perform and be able to choose the way that I perform instead of being an actress and have to have someone else pick me. I wanted to be able to create my opportunities. Yeah. So my vision was kind of like a Jay-Z, Beyonce kind of power couple situation, and then being like Britney Spears, so getting to perform on stage, and then kind of like Tony Robbins and be inspirational. So that was my visualization. And I ended up meeting Chris Winfield, who is my business partner and life partner now. And it became really clear he was doing these events that connected entrepreneurs to the media. He was helping entrepreneurs get press so that they could be seen. And I was like, wait a minute. And this was the dot connecting moment. And when I talk about now the law of attraction, how it's not just something that magically happens to you when you visualize something. What it does is it makes the opportunities way more noticeable. And there's neon lights and arrows pointing at the opportunity when it presents itself. And Chris and I were like, let's start something together. Let's start a company, and let's help other people be able to shine and be able to get their message out there. And so we started to create events, and that led to SuperConnector Media. And then the event aspect was the way that I got to perform and speak on stage. And that was a long way of saying, now we're here. We have a PR agency, SuperConnector Media, where we represent some of the biggest personal brands in the world. And we also have the Bntv Bootcamp and the Be Seen Accelerator, where we help entrepreneurs get their message out in the world and get in the press.
And there really is no short way to share that incredible journey, because what I love every time I hear you share it, and we've had the pleasure of knowing each other, gosh, it's only really been 9 months. We met in January this year. Yes. Isn't that crazy to think about? But this year has also been, it's been actual 7 years, 2020 has. So it's actually it's the same as in dog years. So, but I've gotten to hear you share your story several times, but every time I get something new, I hear something new for myself. And I still am not over this little tidbit you shared on our Powerhouse Women virtual event. It's the thing that people come back and tell me they're implementing now. And you talked about, as part of this manifestation process, doing a future gratitude list. Yeah. Will you share a little bit of that? Because this is so actionable. And especially if you've maybe dabbled in some law of attraction before and you've visualized, but then found yourself falling off the wagon with it. I feel like this is such a fun way to bring that energy back into your daily life, especially in a year when maybe like me, nothing that you had planned looks exactly like you thought. So tell me a little bit about the future gratitude list and where you use that, where we can apply it.
Yeah. So yeah, you're right. Everybody's vision board got burnt from 2000. I threw it away a long time ago. So nothing that we expected, but they say this or something better. So I'm actually excited for me to review what I did want at the beginning of the year and see how it morphed into something even better than it was supposed to be.
Totally.
So I do think that everything that we wanted did manifest in a very weird way. But anyways, so the future gratitude list is probably one of the most powerful things that anyone that's listening could do. And I've been doing it subconsciously. I've been doing it for a really long time. I didn't give it a name. I didn't call it a future gratitude list, but I would I knew that the fastest way to tap into the vibration and the feeling of having what you want. So the secret really is is creating memory in the subconscious mind, right? Because the subconscious doesn't know the difference between a real memory and a fake one. So if you can create the memory, what that does is when the action steps come, they're less scary. The opportunities are more noticeable because your brain is like, oh, I already did that. That opportunity already happened because you created the memory. So what do you do to create the memory is you actually have to feel the feelings in your body, like for real, like it's really happening. And the quickest way to tap into that is gratitude. It's the easiest way too. It's the easiest, like the easiest feeling to get to feel without any other fears and feelings and stuff like that getting in the way. I mean, it does, but it's easier, is gratitude. So every single morning I do 2 gratitude lists. I do my regular gratitude list, like I'm grateful for Lindsay and I'm grateful for Chris and I'm grateful for this bed or whatever. And then my second gratitude list is being grateful for things that haven't happened yet, as if they've already happened. So for years, I used to write down, I'm so grateful that I met the love of my life today and that we live at 200 West 72nd Street with windows looking over 72nd, floor to ceiling windows. I knew exactly where I wanted to live, and every single day I woke up and I would write down that I was grateful that I lived at that address. And cut you guys, so just like, if you haven't heard my talks before, I lived there. I ended up moving into that apartment. And the day I met Chris Winfield, I wrote down, I'm so grateful I met the love of my life today. I did not know that. And then under it, I wrote, I'm grateful I had a great time with Chris today. So I didn't know the 2 people were the same.
Oh, wow.
I had no idea, but I did write it down. And so the key, like you can write it, but what I want you guys to do is to go even deeper. And when you write it down, feel it. So the way that I like to tap into the feeling is, I mean, you can go a step further. So you can have it on your, in your journal, in your morning pages when you wake up and you do it, and you can, close your eyes and get into the feeling of feeling like it already happened. But I love to move. So I love to I'll go on these gratitude walks, or like I'll call them manifestation walks. And I will take a walk like I am the person that has everything that I want. So I put on a song and I will literally walk around feeling like I remember this when I really, really wanted to meet my person. I would walk around and just imagine like I was holding his hand and we were taking a long walk in the city, and I would just feel grateful. And just like it was happening to me. Like, I'm so grateful that I'm just like having the best time with the love of my life. And we're walking here and we're walking and just let the feeling engulf your body. And people will think you're crazy and they will look at you like you're nuts, unless you live in New York City, because there's so many people look at you. So it's okay.
Fit right in.
Yeah, you fit right in. It was great. No one looks at me when I do that. But if you're in a small town, maybe they might, but who cares? So it's future gratitude. And let's tie it back into the media really quick, because this has worked for me and many of our clients and many people who have gone through the Bntv bootcamp, because one of the steps that we do in the Bntv bootcamp is your future gratitude list. And people are like, what the hell does this have to do with getting in the media? But if you cannot believe in your heart that you can actually be that person on TV, you're never going to get there. You're going to stop yourself every time. So what we do is we have you do a future gratitude list for getting in all of those places that you want to be. And do a video. So you're announcing it to the world. I am so grateful that I was on the Today Show. Oh my God, it was amazing. I got to talk to Jenna Bush and I crushed it. And then someone called me because they saw me on the Today Show and they want to work with me. And then another person called and they wanted to work with me because they saw me on the Today Show. I'm so grateful. It was incredible. And the more that you can go into it and play it up, and you guys may think, Jen, you are batshit crazy. No, this works. Just do it. Just play. Just go there. Because the more that you can feel that gratitude for that thing happening as if it's already happened, the more that you've already experienced it, and the less scary the actual steps to taking it become. It just becomes normal.
It's so powerful. And man, I think about all of the times in my life where I've tapped into that feeling. And when I get the thing, or whatever ends up being the result, it almost is like I don't need it anymore because I have the gratitude. I have the feeling that I wanted, or I thought it would bring me.
Yes.
And then you're so much less attached to the outcome itself. And it almost just feels more effortless.
And that is why I just told you before this started that you were the most effortless woman in the universe. You are. And that is so true, because at the end of the day, nothing that you get gives you the feeling that you have. You can create absolutely every emotion with everything that you have inside of you right now,
Yeah.
which is so freaking powerful if you think about it. You can
Oh,
anything. Like if you just imagine, sometimes the fun thing to do if you don't know what you want. So sometimes I'm like, I don't even know what I want to manifest. I just envision my friends and family saying to me, congratulations, Jen, you did it. I'm so proud of you. And I'll just envision people telling me congratulations. And I don't even know what it's for. But like I make that feeling happen, right?
oh,
And
I
then
love that.
you're like, oh, this feels great. I don't even need anything. I've
Mm,
got it already.
which just makes you a magnet for so many things
Right. That's
that you
right.
didn't even know you wanted. Okay. So I do, gosh, this is so good. And I do want to circle back to what you brought up about being in the media, because right now, you know, you had to do the same thing I did. We pivoted live events and we made them virtual, you know, for the time being. Companies are having to reimagine what it looks like to get themselves seen. And one of the things that you and Chris have done so beautifully is you have really stepped in and said, no, 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 this is actually the best time to be positioning yourself in the media, because people are home more. We're watching, we're consuming more media than ever before, and we need voices like yours. But
Yes.
we were talking a little bit, and I asked, I'm going to have you share with the people, but I asked, you know, what do you see stops the people who truly are deserving? They have such a beautiful message and story to share. What stops them from even pitching themselves, even putting themselves out there in a position to be seen? What do you think that is?
Mm. Well, I love that you said that it's the best time to be on TV, because you're right. I'm just going to go back to that really quick, because there is no time better than now to be on television. You can do it in your sweatpants. You don't have to go anywhere.
Amen.
In, and more people are watching TV looking for answers and looking for guidance than ever before. So if you can be that mentor that pops into somebody's living room or on their phone, you don't have to be watching TV on the TV. You can be consuming news on your phone, on your YouTube, whatever. If you're that person that gives them the answer that they're looking for at that time when they need it, then they're going to follow you forever. You're going to be the expert in their mind forever and ever. So that's the first thing. The second thing, why do people stop? Why don't people do it when they know? And someone could be listening to this right now, and I guarantee you, I know the Powerhouse Women audience. Like, they're the greatest. And if you're listening to this right now, if you are attracted to Lindsay and you follow Lindsay, it means that you are doing something incredible in the world. It means that you are helping people in a big way. And it means that you deep down, deep down, even if you haven't declared it yet, even if you're still feeling a little fear and imposter syndrome and you haven't completely stepped into it, deep down you feel that you have this responsibility and this calling to help people and to
Yeah.
be of service and to be a voice and to be a leader. Every single person listening to this, I could guarantee, feels that deep in their soul if they follow you. That's why they were drawn to you. So if that's you, and you haven't gotten on TV yet, or haven't done a podcast yet, or haven't done a Facebook Live yet, or haven't even, even thought, like picked up their phone and even thought about it yet because you're scared. The only reason is it's the space between your ears. It's you. Because you are worthy and you are enough. And if you are having the experience of helping people and doing the things that you're doing to get you to a place where you could actually listen to podcasts like this, you are 100% credible enough to be in the media and share your message. So the only thing that's stopping you is fear. And the only thing that's stopping you, and fear comes in and stops us in really weird ways. And really weird ways where we were like, it's not fear. I'm legitimately not ready yet. I'm legitimately not ready. And fear will really yell at us and convince us that we are not ready because our website isn't ready, or our book hasn't been published yet, or Kyle didn't go to college yet, or we didn't lose the 10 pounds yet, or we didn't meet the man yet. I'll do it when I'm not ready yet, or I'm not confident enough on camera. When I get more confident, when I do more Facebook Lives, then I'll do it. Or, it's all these things. But here's the thing, like, we're never going to be ready. I've been doing this for so long. I performed all over the country in a show. I did 10 shows a week. Do you think I felt ready one time, one performance? I never felt totally ready, ever.
Yeah.
So we tell people you don't ever need to be ready or want anything or do anything. You've heard this a lot of times, but I'm going to say it again, Linz. You don't ever have to want anything or be ready 100% because we're humans and we're never 100% ready.
Yeah.
You just have to be like 51% or want it 51% because that little teeny tiny bit will get you to that teeny tiny action step, whether that's writing the pitch, not even sending it yet, right? Or pressing live on Facebook, or, just doing that little step that gets you that little win. And what that little win does is it tells the brain, oh, that wasn't that bad. That wasn't that bad. I did it even though I wasn't ready and I didn't die. And it actually was pretty cool. So then the next time you go to do it, it's a little easier. And then the same process happens again. And then the next time you go to do it, it's even easier and then easier. We've all experienced that with little things. So with the media, yes, it's freaking scary because there's a lot of fear. There's a lot of stuff that happens when we start to show up. Like, what will people think of me? Right? Like, what will my family say? What will this person say? What will this person think? What if I mess up? What if I don't really know what I'm talking about? Yeah. What if they figure out that I'm not really that credible? Like, people have this weird lie that they tell themselves that they don't have enough credentials or they're not worthy of talking about this. I'll tell you right now, Linz, like, I've got no credentials. Chris and I joke all the time. We were like the least credentialed people in the entire world, right? For real. I don't know what credentials I really have. Like, I dropped out of college. So I have no credentials, but I just decided to take action before I was ready. And I went along as I went and I learned as I went. And in order to have experiences, in order to get better, and in order to really not fully, but show up each time, you got to just do it before you're ready. And that's just how it works.
And I wish I could even go back to myself 10 years ago and have this conversation with the version of me that was so desperately wanting to feel ready. And I didn't learn this lesson until I started taking those scary steps. But I'm also going to add something that I cannot underscore enough how vital this is, especially if you are gripped with that feeling of I'm not ready. I don't know if I'm enough. I don't know if I'm the one. And you feel that tension between the feeling that you're meant for more, is that you need to put yourself in a community of other people who are, number one, cheering you on and who are going to hold you accountable. And I tell the story all the time about if I had not invested in myself, put myself in a program that held me accountable to finishing my book, none of this would be here. It wouldn't be here. Because every time I showed up, and I would show up to these Zoom calls ready to quit, and then I would think about having that conversation with my husband and saying, that couple $1,000s I invested, yeah, I'm just not going to finish this thing. Yeah, it just wasn't a great time for me. And these are the stories, you guys, these are the stories we buy into that sound completely logical, that take us off track from our dreams, when if you just were in a community of people who are going to challenge you, but also lovingly hold you accountable and point you to your greatness, you will be shocked by what you can accomplish. And it's getting that little bit of those tiny wins that then give you a little bit of confidence, and then a little bit more, and then a little bit more. Like, we're just here to dispel any belief that you might have that either one of us woke up just ready. No, we've never been ready. We've always been scared out of our minds, and then we took the step anyway. But for me, I always say, I wish that I could just hold myself accountable and I was reliable to get out of my own way without being massively held accountable. And I'm just not. And I've learned that about myself. So this is why I'm obsessed with what you and Chris have created, the Bntv Bootcamp. I've gone through it. I am signed up for your live program next spring because I know that Powerhouse Women is meant to be seen on a bigger stage. And I'm scared out of my mind by that thought, you guys. But because I'm putting myself in community with people who remind me that I'm totally worthy of it, and remind me that I'm going to feel a little unsure until I take those first steps. So for people listening who are like, okay, literally my palms are getting sweaty and I feel like you're calling me out right now, Lindsay and Jen, tell them about what is coming up next. The Bntv Bootcamp is incredible. And this is really the first best step for people to take, right? If they know that they're ready for this.
Oh, they don't need to know that they're ready for this.
Oh, that's true. That is true.
You don't need to know that you're ready. If you feel called, it's $55. It's the easiest no-brainer. It's like buying a top. And it's what we do in the boot camp is the majority of the people that sign up for the boot camp have never done a Facebook Live before. They're petrified, but they have this calling. Can I tell a quick story?
I would love that. Yeah.
That everybody needs to hear. Now, this is really powerful. It doesn't need to get this deep for everybody, but this is an example of things that happen in the Bntv bootcamp. There was a woman, I can use her name, I'm sure she wouldn't mind. Her name is Brenda, and she, African-American woman suffering from PTSD, former Marine. And she went through the boot camp. And when I saw her, I was like, wow, this woman is a freaking powerhouse. She's amazing. But what I didn't know was the story that she told on the last day. So the last day, she gets on the call and she was like, Chris and Jen, the day before that I found this boot camp on Facebook, I called the suicide hotline. I was going to kill myself. Mm-hmm. I couldn't take the PTSD anymore. I didn't want to live anymore. And the person on the other line said to me, just wait a day and do something else. Just do something. She said, I saw this, at the time it was called the Bntv Challenge. Saw the Bntv Challenge on Facebook. I clicked on it. I signed up. That was the thing. She said, I don't know what the hell these things, I don't know what these crazy people are talking about, whatever, being on TV. I don't know. I just like, this is the thing. Okay. She signed up. She started doing the things that we tell you to do in the boot camp, which is together, we all hold each other accountable and celebrate each other and practice being on camera. And she did a Facebook Live, and she just did this Facebook Live and started talking about, inspiring other people and like what she was dealing with and how you could overcome some of the things that she was dealing with. And after she was done doing that Facebook Live, a woman reached out to her. And that woman said, Brenda, I have not gotten out of bed to feed my children for 4 months because my son committed suicide. And because of your Facebook Live today, I got out of bed and I fed my kids for the first time. So thank you so much for being visible. I don't know if she said thank you for being visible. That's my language. But thank you for showing so that I could have that message so that I could get out of bed and my kids could have their mom back. So Brenda was then like, holy crap, the power of my voice, what that can do for people. So then she was going live every day. Brenda still goes live every day now. She has her own TV show. She has her own TV show online. And she has a podcast. She's written a book. She won the challenge. She was the challenge winner. We do a lot of prizes and all these things. But that is an example of what can happen in this Bntv bootcamp. And that is couldn't be further, like that is the truest of stories. It is my favorite because it is the proof of the power of media. It's not just about you. Yeah. It's about the other people whose lives you can change when you start showing up.
Oh my goodness. And what a beautiful reminder that I think, circling back to what you said, stops us from putting ourselves in a position to be heard, is feeling like, well, gosh, maybe my story's not impressive enough. I always thought like, who am I? Like, I'm not that interesting. I'm really not. I haven't had anything really hard happen to me, or I haven't had this huge success. And to think that what made the biggest impact about her story was just her showing up and sharing about the struggles that she was going through. And every time I show up and I do a podcast about something that I've struggled with, or, do a Facebook Live or whatever that looks like, it's that. It's never the cool achievements, which are great. It's our struggles that unite us. And so if you know that you've been through something that other people have been through, it is your obligation to share. You never know who needs to hear your voice, not someone else's, yours.
That's right.
That's so beautiful. I have not heard that story before. I'm so grateful that you shared it. So tell us where we can go, and I'll link everything in the show notes as well. But tell everyone where they can connect with you, where they can learn more about the Bntv Bootcamp. I'm going to go through it again. I know that, it just affected my life so much the last time I went through it. And now I'm even more ready to implement what you teach in there. So I'm excited to go through it with fresh eyes and just really dive into this beautiful community that you and Chris have cultivated. So where can we learn more about you? Where can we connect with you and everything that you're doing?
Oh my God. Okay. I just freaking, this is like love fest. Like my heart is I used to be on this call for hours. Okay. You can find me on Instagram at Jen_Gottlieb. Underscore is my middle name. Chris made that joke earlier and I thought it was funny. Just like that little line, Gottlieb. And then for Bntv Bootcamp, you can learn about it at bntvbootcamp.com. But if you're going to sign up under Lindsay's link, and she's going to put her link in the show notes. I'm sure she'll share it everywhere so that we know that you're one of the powerhouse women. We want to know. So sign up with Lindsay's link, but you can check it out at bntvbootcamp.com.
Oh my goodness. Well, same. I feel every time like when we connect, we could just go on and on for hours. I cannot wait until the next time we're physically in the same room together because it's so long overdue. And just truly thank you for showing up consistently this year, using your gifts to encourage the rest of us to share ours. It's just made such a big impact on my life. And I know so many women in our community as well.
Same with you, sister. You're one of those people, you talked about people that hold you accountable. You are one of those people that hold me accountable every day because you're doing it. And I'm like, all right, Lindsay's stepping up. Lindsay's doing it. I got to do it. I got to do it too. So thank you for being a leader and such a sister to me.